What's going on, guys? It's your boy BMX. So PlayStation just talked to a guy from Wildlands, and yeah, it's a gotta get. So I'm gonna let this play and then talk to you at the end. Hope you enjoy.
Dominic, you're from Ubisoft Paris.
That's right.
Thank you so much. You're the lead designer on the game. This is a really interesting one because it's a big step away from what we've seen with the last few titles, the Advanced Warfare,
right.
the Advanced Warfighter stuff. So tell me at elevator pitch level,
Sure.
What's Wildlands about?
So Wildlands is a military shooter set in a massive, dangerous open world. You can play entirely in solo or in up to 4-player co-op. Set in Bolivia, it's got a modern-day setting. It's a near future. But in terms of making it different from previous Ghost Recons, yes, we wanted to always bring something new to the franchise every time we make another one. But a lot of the guys that worked on this game have worked on Ghost Recon for 10 plus years, so they know the brand, they know the DNA. They want to bring that tactical shooter element to the open world, give that kind of total freedom of choice to approach it the way you want.
That's awesome. So, this is one of the biggest open worlds that Ubisoft has ever put out.
Yes, that's
which
right.
is saying something.
That's it.
Because you guys are known for those open worlds.
It's the largest action adventure open world we've ever done, and it's enormous. We're showing you a little bit of the scope here, but you don't really get a sense of just how enormous that space is. But more important for us than just it's more open world. It's the fact that Bolivia is really important. It's a beautiful place, but it gives us a chance to show a variety of different ecosystems, right? We've got, I think in the game it's 11 different ecosystems if you're counting. We've got, snow peak mountains, we've got salt deserts, we've got the Death Road, famously in Bolivia, we've got jungles and swamplands and everything in between. And it gives you that kind of visual variety as you're traveling across the world, but also it gives you a chance to kind of challenge yourself in terms of gameplay, right? Because playing in the mountains, playing in the hills is completely different to open desert. It's completely different to close, dense jungle. You have to kind of mix it up. You're challenged not just by the story and the AI, but also by the environment.
This looks awesome right here. I'm just marveling at the scale and the scope of this.
It is beautiful. Everything you can see, you can go to. There's outposts and villages and camps and lots of different things to discover.
So cool. I mean, this is like one of those no-brainer moments. You don't see games do this very often. But I think for good reason, it's got to be technically challenging, right?
It is, but what's fun as well is just getting from A to B is fun. There's a joy to it because you get those beautiful vistas. Here you're treated in the distance, you can see the lake, you can see there's a whole other ecosystem to discover there, lots of other gameplay opportunities, but right here, you got that Rocky Mountains with the big boulders for cover, make your approach, and the ghosts here taking their time, trying to scope out the threats. But it's a lot of fun.
That's great. So we know the game is huge.
Yep.
But what really separates Ghost Recon Wildlands from all the other shooters that are out there? A lot of great shooters. I mean, how are you guys standing apart?
Absolutely, a lot of great shooters. For us, the fact that we're a military shooter, the fact that that is set in this massive kind of dangerous reactive open world, and it especially particularly that you can play the entire thing in solo or in up to 4-player co-op. So when you play in solo, you can play offline if you want. You're always going to be supported by 3 AI teammates. Those guys are always going to be there. It's a really dangerous open world, so it doesn't make sense to play it, just by yourself. And at the same time, Ghost Recon and the Tom Clancy franchise, we deal a lot with real Spec Ops guys, some people that are still active, some that are retired, and with other military organizations. When they took a look at what we were doing, they just backed that up. They said, what you're doing, yes, it's plausible, it could happen, but we would never do it by ourselves, right? Make sure to take that from the start. It's fun to have those kind of action movies, the one guy against the world, I'm gonna do this, the lone wolf. But in fact, we wanted to bring more of that co-op experience, make sure that you get the sense of it's a teamwork, you need that support, you need those guys who can give you fire support, who can help spot, who can maybe grab a vehicle and get you out when things get too hot. You need that support.
Or have guys riding around on motorcycles as well, kind of in a convoy. I saw some really cool action sequences around that.
That's it. And you're not limited. We don't keep you artificially next to each other, so it's not because one person got in one vehicle, you all have to get in that vehicle.
Yeah.
we've got tons of options in the world, and you can spread apart, you come together, you do it, you play the way you want. That's the most important thing.
So another question I've got is Bolivia.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's known for its extreme climates.
Absolutely.
And you touched on that a little bit before, but it's a dangerous place in general. So maybe you could talk a little.
Well, that's the thing. Bolivia is incredibly rich in terms of culture, in terms of history, in terms of just life and geographical diversity. And so for us, it was an absolute godsend. You know? So we looked at it, and the more we looked into it, it was just a wealth of opportunity, because we like to look at these things, really investigate, really learn about what makes the country tick. And then as part of that Tom Clancy DNA, we ask what if, right? Like it's absolutely a work of fiction, but we say, you know, what if one part of this kind of really interesting, diverse setup kind of got turned up to 11, you know? And what would that look like? And in this case, we say, you know, what if a Mexican drug cartel that we see that's happening in the news, this is a real thing, they're growing in audacity and power and wealth, you know, they're out there, not hiding anymore, they're right there at the forefront of the news. But what if these guys took it to the next level? You know, they moved in, they took over a country completely, turned it into a narco state, like every part of the country. What would that look like? What would it be like to move through a place like that? And then what would the reaction of the world be like? And in our case, it's easy because we
look at this guy.
We got the ghosts.
Roofs. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right. That's all right. But that's the fun thing. So in fact, what we just saw was we were going after this target. He's a lieutenant in the Santa Blanca organization. And we got spotted, and systemically he ran. And you get these guys that have different personalities, let's say, right? So they've got different motivations, different backstories, a very strong narrative for all these guys. You learn what makes them tick, you hunt them down. In this case, because he spotted us, this particular guy, he's a runner, right? So he grabbed the vehicle nearby, he's fleeing the scene, but because the ghosts need him alive, they can't just shoot him, right? That would be the easy option in this case.
That would be easy, yeah.
But they need the information that he has, and so they've got to kind of run him down. And so this is part of the game, right? It's not a mission fail because he saw you. It's like, now you have to react, now you have to adapt. You might have gone in stealthy, but if you weren't paying attention, maybe things can go big, right? And that's what Ghost Recon is all about. It's about freedom to play the way you want, and also because you're the best of the best, you're the ghosts, you need to be able to react to those situations as they evolve.
That's awesome. I think the 4-player online co-op is a real strong match for a game like this. I mean, like you were sort of alluding to earlier, there's so many ways to come at a situation like this, you know. And I think there's even a little bit of an element of kind of factions and kind of, you know, manipulating circumstances. So I don't know how much you could say about that.
Absolutely, but I mean, in terms of that approach, we have that total freedom of choice, right? So that's the thing that we said at the conference. But it's really important that people understand it's not just in a micro level in terms of like my loadout and my character and how I express myself that way, but also in terms of the opportunities I'm using in the world, the vehicle types I use. And then in a more macro sense, we have this very strong narrative based around the cartel that you are free to approach in whatever order you want, right? And so that kind of permeates all the way through. So yes, tons of different options, tons of different ways to do it. It's really about giving a kind of a suite of tools, a ton of options, this beautiful world, this dangerous world, lots of different ways to play, and say, hey, what would you like to do? You know, how do you want to do this? There's no wrong way to play this mission, but how do you want to do it?
Give me an example. You guys are obviously playing the early versions of the game. Give me an example of like a really novel or unusual way that you've seen somebody complete a mission, like kind of, you know, thinking outside the box.
It's a good question. Let's see. Something that would be simple enough to show. Okay, for example, we had a target that was similar to this guy, but we just wanted him dead. But he was within a camp that had very high walls, and sniper towers, and the kind of, he's super well defended. He's a military leader, but we had to take this guy out. But he's hunkered down. He's surrounded by lots of very heavily armed soldiers.
Yeah,
and
heavily fortified.
Heavily fortified, and there's like machine gun nests and mortar turrets, and so you see people kind of stealthing their way through, trying to take out the snipers and trying to come through. But we have like a vehicle faction system, so you can take a Santa Blanca vehicle. If you can steal one, drive it carefully up to the gates. We reduce the visibility of the AI, so you're not invisible, of course, but it reduces their detection rate, so you can sometimes kind of get in. They'll open the doors for you because they're not expecting anybody else to be driving their vehicles. There's a bunch of different ways you could approach something like that, but then sometimes we see people who will like see, okay, we've got this situation, and then, you know, there's guards and how am I going to get there? Maybe I'm going to steal a vehicle. Maybe I'm going to go take the long range. And we saw someone take a helicopter, but just before they took the helicopter, they put C4 on the outside of their own helicopter. And so then they fly, and it's like, what's he going to do? And he jumps out. They base jump, but didn't base jump into the camp. Instead, came off to the side, and just as the helicopter's falling in real time, so comes down, lands, and detonates the C4 right over the camp. The helicopter explodes and just takes out a whole bunch of guys, and it was fantastic.
That's amazing.
It's one of those moments where we look at each other and it's like, is this a bug? Is it? Should we?
That's not a bug.
No, it's not. It's awesome. You know, he did it. It's
now you need to buy a new helicopter. That's the only problem.
Sure, but that's okay. Helicopters come and go.
Yeah, they come and go. That's great. All right, well, Ghost Recon Wildlands looking awesome. Coming out on PS4 in 2017, right?
2017, in March 7th, 2017.
Oh, you already have a date and everything.
We do have a date and everything.
Mark your calendars. That's it. Dominic, really appreciate you walking us through the game.
So guys, March 7th, 2017 is the date for Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Wildlands. I will definitely be getting that game on the PlayStation 4. And if I have the opportunity to get it on Xbox One, I'll also get it there and on PC. It is massive. The 4 players, that's going to be awesome. As they showed in the video, in the gameplay, it's a very tactical based game, and it's going to be good to play with friends, and I am super excited. So anybody that wants to add me on PlayStation, I'll leave it down in the description. Add me on Xbox, Steam, everything will be down in the description. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. This has been your boy BMX. Peace.